The enigmatic assault space marine is a marvel of modern-day technology. A large, unkempt beast of a man was found wandering the streets of Terra, screaming profanities into trash cans. This man appeared to be the perfect candidate for the assault program. He was expeditiously fed several thousand pounds of synthetic ground boar meat and was then supposed to receive the rabies virus. As it turned out, he already had it, and a lot of things began to make sense. You see, the standard assault player is very similar, with the raccoon trapped in a shed kind of demeanor. What I'm going to attempt here today is dampening those behaviors. We want to take that feral rodent and trade it in for a proper guard dog. They're still treating everything they can latch onto like a fat kid gnawing on a piece of ham, but now you can point them in a general direction and get the ham back before they start choking themselves. We'll cover weapons first. As a general rule for melee, go ahead and pick anything tagged with fencing. You don't need to use balanced or block stances. Those are the safety scissors of stances, and you will not be seen with them. You're going to become a deity with parrying, evasion, and gun strikes. Personally, I use the hammer because I find crushing things with hammers incredibly satisfying. Now, I won't be telling you the moves and telegraphs of each and every enemy because that's just long, drawn out, and unnecessary. Instead, I'll tell you how to figure all of them out. It's better if I show you how to learn instead of just giving you the answers. Whenever a small unit leaves the ground, hit parry, they will explode. It's as simple as that. Don't overcomplicate things by spamming the button, you will fuck up your timing. If nothing is jumping at you, take a swing. You are able to use parry mid-swing anyways, so don't worry about being left exposed. For elite enemies, remember these rules. Are you paying attention? Pay more attention. This is important. If you see orange, lunge to the side. If you see them lunge at all with no orange, I don't care, blue, whatever, doesn't matter. If they lunge and it is not orange, parry. Final one, important shit, pay attention. Are you still paying attention? Well, look, go ahead, pay more attention than you already were. Possibly triple your efforts. If you cannot gun strike them after you parry them, this bitch is gonna hit you again. Do not give a shit about if it is blue or not. I can't stress that enough. Blue doesn't matter. If they lunge, they're gonna try to hit you again. Parry that too, and repeat it until you can hit a gun strike. You don't need to hit the gun strike, but you should. The main thing we're looking for is as long as you can hit the gun strike on an enemy, you can go ahead and consider that enemy stunned. Hit them a couple times, shoot them in the head with the gun strike, rinse and repeat until dead. This will apply from standard elites and work all the way up to boss fights. Seeing as we just addressed how to kill the enemies, let's go ahead and cover how to engage without killing ourselves now, shall we? Fantastic. If I see one more glue-huffing assault slamming head first into a horde and dying instantaneously because for some god-forsaken reason they were under the impression that they could serve the team best as cosplaying some kind of 97-year-old woman who was thrown from the peak of Machu Picchu, rolled down each and every last one of those stone stairs, and was left lying in a crumpled, broken, and dead as fuck heap at the base of the pyramid, I'm gonna throw a rock through a goddamn window. If that seems to describe you, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you to do two things in order of importance. Number one, you're gonna go ahead and cut that shit out. That shit is bad for your health, it is bad for your teammates, it's bad for generally everybody. And number two, if somebody gave you that advice, you're going to go ahead and tell them in the future to shut the fuck up. And you know what? We're going to add another one on top of this. You're going to take a picture of that individual's face, okay? And you're going to memorize that picture. It's going to be burned into your skull. Anytime you see another individual who even somewhat bears resemblance to that person, you're going to tell them to shut the fuck up too, because even the slightest possibility that those two might be related is enough to completely discount their opinion, because stupid runs deep in that family. Now, back to the topic at hand. You should be brave. You should not be a dickhead. For some of you, that's going to be significantly more difficult than others. You're going to start off small with baby steps and play defense for your weaker teammates until you learn to handle yourself. This way you two can bail each other out when mistakes are made. Once you learn how to fight, go ahead, gradually step the difficulty up and do the same thing. After being successful there, drop the difficulty back down, begin starting fights on your own. By the time this is resolved, you should be okay as the center of attention and fully competent in handling yourself. You will also have enough perks to maintain yourself in those fights. You are no longer whatever your lame-ass name used to be. You are now Duke Fist Missile, and you're going to go around picking fights with the largest enemies you can find all the time. Sound good? Fantastic. Welcome to the club. You're now an assault. The assault, to a certain degree, is an all-eyes-on-me experience, with a caveat. You want the biggest things trying to fight you. You see, a bulwark is a lot more crowd-control-y. He's kind of a strobe show. He wants everything on him. You're kind of just dangling keys in a baby's face. You just want attention of one specific thing. And you want to know what happens when you break that baby's guard and you got his focus on you? You go ahead, you punch that baby. Alright, so you force the opponent's attention on you, because the alternative would be a hammer to the back of that opponent's skull. This puts you in a reasonable amount of danger, so your margin of error is incredibly slim. But the reward for this risk is readily apparent. You are, and I say this undoubtedly, the best bet to win a 1v1 out of your entire team. This kit is tailor-made for main character moments. You're the person support units are supporting, and it's gonna feel incredible. If you put the work in, you will become a walking QuickTime event. Assault permits the most dynamic range of gameplay across all of the classes. If that's what you're seeking out, start putting the time in now. Full warning, you do have one crippling weakness. Ranged units. You are not always going to have good teammates, and you will need an answer for this problem. If you can't stick and move, or you can't figure out how to stick and move, you are fucked. Okay, one of the most important skills you can have is closing distance, and even then, you're not safe. If a flying enemy decides it wants your number, the fight is going to suck. That's simply a fact of life in the moment, but all is not lost. Carry crack grenades at all time and save them for Zoes or Neuros or any flying units that manage to work their way in the future. It's not a guarantee, but it sure as hell is better than the alternative. For ground units, you'd better be good with that pistol. If not, always keep a reserve charge of your jump pack. If you're not going to use it for dropping in on the enemy, at least treat it as an escape plan. I try to prioritize them over everything else on the board because you can beat melee units in your sleep. You should get rid of the problematic ones early. Now, before the usual complementary classes section, I want to go ahead and add a new segment here. Here's how you can help out an assault player. Get the fuck out of the way. Stay out of the assault's way when they are fighting elites. If you interfere with an assault's brawl, it will interrupt their entire flow of combat. When you get in the way of a fist fight, all you are doing is blocking their vision. This is not helping. I know you feel like you're helping because you're stabbing the thing as well. You are not helping. The only way to help is to sling bullets at the ranged and swarm units. Let the assault do their job, focusing on elites without fighting around a metal gorilla. Now, if an assault crumbles under the pressure of fighting an elite, that's on them. That's their fault. They shouldn't have lost that fight. They fucked it up. If they take that out on you, go ahead, feel free to tell them as much. However, if you danced around and you shoved yourself in the middle of that fight and they go down and they're pissed at you, that's on you. You were blocking their sight, they couldn't parry, and you crippled them. With that done, let's explain how you can complement gameplay with different classes. Tactical. A tactical on your team is a great way to maximize your damage windows. Communicate with your tactical and have them scan very big targets before you unleash barrages upon them. Either that, or have them scan a crowd before you splash down and eradicate the entire area. Vanguard. This is the first time I will actively recommend against pairing classes together. Pairing a Vanguard with an Assault is honestly like putting a hat on a hat. For the most part, you two are going to be hound dogs fighting over a pork chop. If you're going to run this combination, don't fight near one another. You will be stepping on each other's toes the entire match. Bulwark. This is probably the best combination due to complementary perks and behaviors. Think of them like the sun and your, Mars or whatever the fuck. Smart bulwarks will be incredibly good at crowd control and damage over time. As they become a stationary supernova, revolve around them and destroy everything they can't reach. Sniper. When you play with a sniper, it is either great or it is fucking miserable. If you get a good one, they will set up constant finishers for you. The trade-off for this is you playing significantly more aggressive and peeling enemies off of them if need be. Heavy. The Heavy is an unexpectedly successful pairing with an Assault. Most are willing to play aggressive with you and clear out the swarm units. This leaves you to focus on the elites, which is fantastic. They will also work to remove enemies at range, and you can have them pull shield if need be. Now, you may feel this video is a little more aggressive than usual, and you're correct. That's a fantastic assessment. You hit the nail on the head. Here's the reason. Assault is the most widely criticized class, and I just wanted you to be able to feel what that is like for a little bit before you embark upon this journey. Some person who has never played Assault, or at least never played it successfully, is going to tell you that you are doing your job wrong. Don't listen to them, they don't matter. They're like the guy earlier who told you to smash directly into the pit. Now, that's all I've got for the time being, and I would consider this one a lot more open to suggestions because of how differently you can play with the different melee weapons. But, with that being said, if you feel like you've got valuable input on play, go ahead, share it. I have no clue which class is next. It's probably going to be the Bulwark, but I've honestly neglected the last three, so I guess it's going to be a surprise. Thank you for tuning in, as always, and hopefully you can put this to good use. Refrain from going out there just to put the ass in Assault. Have a good night.